Welcome back, everybody. So today we're going to focus on your unit syllables, ISE and ICE, and how to identify them and when they will make their unit sounds. So we're also going to focus on homophones, and we're really focusing on homophones, but we're going to talk about homonyms and homographs. Bruise and bruise. Okay, so we'll bring this in. Now, this bruise, see how you have an ISE at the end? How you looks like this could be a unit sound. Now, the unit sound ISE makes the is or eyes, or it could say is sound. So oftentimes the SE at the end says z. But this one right here, it's a vowel team syllable. You see the UI, you don't see UI syllables very often, but this UI right here is a vowel team. This EW is a vowel team. So this bruise means to dent or to mar, and this bruise means to make by soaking, boiling, or fermentation. So homophones are words that sound the same but are different. These sound the same, bruise and bruise. So if you look at this, if it was by itself, it would not be plural. So see how this, you guys, so this says brew, and you put the plural S on. And that's the S is saying zzz. So what's super confusing about that? Well, why is the S saying zzz? There are different reasons why. So if you have a vibrating sound in front of your S, it forces your S to say its hard Z sound. So if you have a non-vibrating sound in front of your S, it will say the S sound. Oftentimes it does that. It doesn't do that all the time, but if you know this rule, it will help you with your reading and it will help you with your spelling immensely. Word is. See how it has one S. So oftentimes when it has one S, it will say Z, like his or has, or can you guys think of another one? Or as, thanks Dan. Or she, she's. So it doesn't matter if you have she's right here as plural, or if we have it as she is as a contraction, it's still saying this sound and it doesn't have the double S. So let's look at this word. So if we have hiss and it has two S's, look at this, Paul. Okay, so if you have the double S right here, Polly, it will, you know that it's going to say S. But if you have a single S, it could say Z like this word. It could say also this sound like this. See the difference? So you could say two different sounds. Hiss, there's no way. It will always say S with a double S. So, but one S, it can move to the Z sound, which is the hard sound. Okay, now look at this. Can you see that really good, Dan? Yeah. If we have, see how this is your plural S? Links. But it's saying it's soft sound. So if you have a soft sound here, it'll say it's soft sound here. But if you have a hard sound, is where you're going to have the hard S sound, the Z sound. So this word, see that? Quits. Why is that saying the soft S sound? As the T is a soft sound. See how the K was a soft sound? So this is a soft sound. This is T is a soft sound. So this is a soft sound. So if you have a hard sound like an L or D, see how, remember how T's and D's, this is soft sound when we talked about our EDs, exactly, Dan. This is a soft sound, this is the hard sound. See how this is soft, so it's making your S soft. So the D Look at this. Kind. Kinds. See how that went to the Z sound? But we still put the S on, even though it's making the Z sound, it's still making the S sound. Oh, now if we look back up here to bruise and bruise, can you see how vowels are hard sounds? So it's forcing this S to say the Z sound. But if you took off the S here, see how this is plural? But you can't take off the S-E on this word. That's why it's so important to study your vocabulary words and study your homophones, because you've got to understand that there are different spellings for your different words. So this S-E would be here to help you say, well, this is not plural. This is forcing this to say Z. And this right here is plural. Is that helpful? Okay. So why is this saying Z?
Because it's plural.
Because it's
on a W, like
on a vowel team.
Wow.
Yeah, so it is plural on a vowel team. So if you're by a vowel, most likely this S will be turned to the Z sound. Why is this S saying the Z sound?
Because the EW is making it say Z.
Yeah, because this EW is a vowel team, which is a vowel, and it forces that. So plurals, when it's by its vibrating sound, will make it be the Z sound. But do we spell it like this?
No.
No, because we don't have plural Z's. That is actually in another language. But in the English language, we do not have plural Z's. Even though it's saying the Z sound, we don't have them. So when you want the Z sound and you want it to be plural, you put it in what letter?
An S.
An S. Okay? Or we have ES, which says ez, because see how you have that vowel right in front of it? Ez. That's what's happening right there. Okay. Now we're also going to talk about confusable words. And I just put up one confusable word. And now these are not homophones, they're not homonyms or homographs. But the reason why these are confusables is because they start with the same letters. And that's where you get confusable words. But this word says ambiguous. And it means to have more than one meaning. So how we can use that in a sentence, the law was ambiguous. And if you don't understand what ambiguous means, you're not going to understand the law was ambiguous. Well, what does that mean? It means it can mean more than one thing. Okay? Yeah, hun?
It's a statement.
So we have ambivalent, which means having or showing very different feelings at the same time. See how these are completely different meanings. And if you put ambivalent in for ambiguous, people are going to be going, what is that person saying? What are they thinking? What are they meaning? Yeah.
It's like sometimes you're crying but you're laughing.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. So have you ever had somebody say, like you want to go somewhere? I do, but I don't. You're having mixed. You want to go to the party, but you also want to stay home. So you're ambivalent. You're having those feelings. So let's smoothly step around common grammar mistakes that mess people up. These things mess people up. If you're not studying your homophones, which I challenge you to take some homophones, study their definitions and study the spelling so that you will not be messed up if you put the wrong word in, so you have the wrong understanding. This happens all the time. It's so important that you have somebody else read your work because they catch things that you would skim back over. So let's do a sentence that will help us understand how to put ambivalent in a sentence. He remains ambivalent about his business management class. So what do you think that means? If ambivalent is having or showing very different feelings at the same time. Maybe he likes it for this reason, but he can't stand it for this reason. So he has like a dislike, you know, it just, sometimes it's really great because the teacher's great, and sometimes, so it could be different things, but he's ambivalent about his class. But look at this one. Her thoughts are ambivalent to whether she will accept the new case or turn it down. All right, well, that ambivalent means, okay, well, am I going to accept this new case? Oh, I don't know, it's hard, or I have the chance to turn it down. She wants to accept it because it will push her, it will make her succeed more. She doesn't want to, maybe she doesn't have time, it's hard, she wants to do it right. Does that make sense? Ambivalent. These are huge confusables for people.
Oh, I thought they were homophones.
No, these are not homophones. We're talking about homophones, homonyms, homographs. Confusables. And I only put one confusable in there to see what the difference is. Because most of the time when they're confusable, it's because they start with the same letters. That's why they're confusables. Okay? So we have a homonym right here. We have weather, weather, and weather. There's 3 types of weather. The weather outside is frightful. So that kind of weather. This weather, whether or not, or we have weather that is a sheep. All right, so that's another homophone. So here are more homophones that we're going to talk about as some examples. We have need. We have 3 different homophones for need. Need, to make by working with dough or clay or whatever. Or need, hit someone with the knee. Bam, you hit them with your knee. You need me in the face. So this need is past participle of knee. So remember, you have your ed right there. See how this one is not an ed, but this one is. And then we have need, which this one is not your past participle either. So to be in want of. So see how they have different spellings. They mean different things. And so you need to understand the different meanings of each spelling. Okay, now this is a huge confusable, but it is a homophone. Please, and we got this in another lesson, but I felt it's so important to be up there. So this kind of please, this S is a suffix, right? And it means cry for help. And this please is not a suffix. You can't just drop off an SE. It means to give pleasure. So Daniel, if you look at this, and which S can I drop off of that?
The first one.
I can drop off because we have plea, right? That. It's more than one plea, but if I drop this off, if I drop the SE off, we're going to have the same thing, which means a plea. It's a completely different word than please. So this right here says z. If you see an SE, you know that you should say z first. And that E is helping that. Say z. This right here, if you drop this off, you have a whole nother word. It is a suffix that is plural. So do you guys look at this one? This one's way confusable. Even though it's a homophone, it is very confusing. It's as confusing as missed and missed, past and past that we talked about before. Yeah, Paul?
So it's a confusable and
it's a homophone.
So technically you have 2 confusables.
Well, yeah, you're right. Okay, so, but look at this, leased. This means rented. It's a past participle of lease. So example here, you have an SE that says S. So that's why I say oftentimes it says Z, and I always say if you don't know the word, read it as Z first. And we'll talk about that a little bit later. That will help you. So this is a past participle of lease. Least means smallest in size or amount. So if we look at this least right here, L-E-A-S, and we have L-E-A-S-E, We're going to drop our E and add on our vowel suffix. Past tense. So what sound is this ED making? So it's making this T sound that's in this word. But if you drop the T on here, you're going to have L-E-A-S, which means this is plural, which is L-E-A, plural of Leah, which breaks here because you can't have E-A at the end of a word and have it be a vowel team. So it's going to say more than one Leahs. Now let's look at wood. This wood comes from trees. This wood is a helping verb, and it also sits in contractions with a apostrophe D, like I'd. So helping verbs will always sit with an action verb. Always sits with another verb, okay? So can you give me an example of how you would use would as with a helping verb? I would be eating. So it's would be eating. It's helping the be eating. You could say he would sleep in the room if the dog wasn't in there. See how would is helping sleep? He would sleep. So remember, would is always a verb and it's always helping. Okay? Never forget that. Would, could, should. Okay, the definition of a homonym. Words that share the same spelling and pronunciation but have different meanings. And these often are questions that people ask. What is the difference between a homonym, a homophone, homographs? Now, homonyms can be homophones, homographs, or they can just be both. So what will really help you to understand, well, what's the difference? And you can say, let's break it up into its origin. Homo or homo, it depends on the word and how you would pronounce that. It's Greek, it's a prefix, and it stands for same. What does homo sound for, Daniel?
Same.
So, no, if you guys remember that, it'll really help you. It means the same. Nyms is Greek. It stands for, it's a word, a Greek word, and it stands for name. It's the same name. Okay? So that will help you to understand it's the same name. Well, if we have a homograph or a homograph, it would say homo means what? Same. And graph means what?
Record.
Record or record. It's going to be the same and we're going to record it the same. So if we have bow, we have bow as in the bow in your hair, the bow and arrow. See how they're two different things. They're spelled exactly the same, but then we also have would be bow, and it's spelled the exact same in the bow of the boat. Does that make sense, boys? So this would be, right here would be a homograph because it's the same spelling. So this will help you. It's the same that you're writing down. So if it's the exact same thing, have different meanings, but it's spelled exactly the same, it's a homograph. But if we have a homophone, words that sound the same but are different, so see, homo means same, phone means sound. So we have, they sound the same, but they're different. They sound the same, but they're different. See how these all sound the same? They're all sounding exactly the same, but they're different. Yes, sweetie?
So for least,
yeah.
Those are homophones.
These are homophones, yes. Can you guys see how that would help you a lot if you understand your Greek combining forms? Well, what's a homonym? Well, it's the same name. So it can be a homophone or a homograph. So it could be this, or they can be these. Either or. Homonyms can.
Homonyms are just basically the same as homophones.
Yeah, but you can have homonyms that aren't homophones because you can have a homograph. This is a homograph, not a homophone.
Well, isn't it a
Yeah, this is a homonym, and it's a homograph. These are homophones, and homonyms. Does that make sense? But you can have a homonym that isn't a homophone, and that would be this. Does that make sense?
So homonyms are just homophones and
Yes.
homographs.
Yes. But these two are different.
Yeah.
So see how this one is the same name. They're this. That means the homonyms. They're the same name. But here, the same. How you write them the same. You're writing and recording them the same. But a homophone is the same. They sound the same, even though things are different.
Yeah.
Let's look at praise. We have praise, 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 and praise. We have 4 praise here. So one, it could be a unit syllable, right?
Oh.
But is this a unit syllable?
No.
It's not. Why? Why is this not a unit syllable?
Which one?
This one right here.
Because it doesn't have a unit in it.
Oh,
It looks-
I know, because there's a AI.
Yeah, it has a vowel team.
Yeah.
So this SE is here to say the Z sound. It's making it so it's not plural. If we took the E on the end, it would be plural of pray, and then it would be spelt wrong. So the SE is here to say the Z sound, because if we just have the S, it's going to be plural. Like this is more than one pray to God. This praise is a compliment. It's its very own word with a vowel team that ends in an SE. So if you want Z at the end of a word and you don't have a way to look it up or anything, I would spell it with an SE if it goes on a base word. Now, if you have a suffix and it says Z, you know we don't have suffixes that end in a Z. It's an S. Okay? So this is your suffix S. This is your suffix S. It's victimizes. Praise. What kind of syllable is this, Daniel? This is a silent E syllable. And this is actually a color. It's a leek green color. Why it's so important for you to understand that if you don't know the word, say Z first, because ISE oftentimes says eyes, is, or is, depending on the word. And if it sits at the end of a multi-syllable word, you need a unit syllable that says those sounds. ICE says ice, is, or is. If it says is, it is not in our language, but we use other people's language. And so if you say z at the end, eyes, or is, I would spell it with an SE. And this is how we spell s at the end of a word if it's not a suffix, if it's not your plural suffix. Does that make sense? So if you hear s at the end of a word and it's not a suffix, how are you going to spell it? A CE. So this says is. What does that word say?
Notice.
Notice. So this is a unit syllable. It says is. It has another vowel over here. It breaks right here. Actually, I'm going to change markers. See, it breaks right here. This is long, and this is its unit sound right there. Is. So ICE says is at the end of multi-syllable words. So if you want s to be at the end and it's not going to be plural, how would you spell it? So how would you spell s at the end of a multi-syllable word that is not a suffix?
CE.
CE. Okay, so we have price. What kind of syllable is this?
Silent E.
So with a silent E syllable, and you're correct, Daniel, it will always force that to be long. And it doesn't have any other vowels over here, so you know this is a silent E syllable. and it says price. So this E right here in this silent E syllable is actually doing two different things. It's having the C say S, and this I is forcing the I to be long. Same with this, slice, twice, choice. So is this, what kind of syllable is this one?
Silent E.
Silent E, but what kind of syllable is this one? So this is not a silent E syllable. This is
A vowel team.
a vowel team syllable.
Hey Mom, don't vowel teams like take over?
Yeah, if you have a vowel team, it trumps your silent E, always.
Okay.
So
Trump CR.
this right here, this E is only here to make this C say S. And we have to have, so we wouldn't do this, boys. Choice. If we did it, if we spelt it like that, it would mean more than one choi. If we spelled it with just an S. So if we want at the end of a word, we need to spell it with a CE. And oftentimes it's spelled with an SE. But if you don't know, spell it with a CE. Okay? Try.
You just told us what it was.
So this is a silent E syllable. See how it's ending with a S. So CE will always say S, always. SE will say S or Z.
Silent E.
Silent E, spice, splice. So I only chose ones that with the ICE because these can be confusable. Well, could it say is? No, it can't because it's a silent E syllable. ICE as is only in multi-syllable words. So if it's in a one-syllable word like this, it cannot say is or is. It will only say ice. Now, is this a multi-syllable word?
Yes.
Yes, this is a multi-syllable word. So we know that this is, okay, police. Now, right here, it's saying the long E sound. Is this in our language? No. This is adopted from the French.
Ooh.
We took this and we used it from the French. Interstice. Okay, this right here is a unit syllable. It says is. It's in a multi-syllable word. Malice. What about this one?
Yes.
Yeah. See the difference? It's in a multi-syllable word. Okay? How about this one? Is this a unit syllable?
No.
It's not. What is it? Yeah.
Vowel team.
It's a vowel team. Do you see that? This OI is part of a vowel team. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So the ICE is not a unit syllable in this word. Okay, so can you see that this right here is a prefix? Even then, OI, your vowel team will trump the ICE. Right here, the CE is there to say S. Okay? And we have, oh, I've already done this word, so you guys tell me about it. It is a unit syllable.
Yeah. I was
Because you
choose it.
have an open O right there, right? So if you have an extra vowel, but see, it's confusing because here's your extra vowel here, but if you have them together, check and see if they're a vowel team. Okay? Office. Is this a unit syllable?
Yes.
Yeah, it is. It's saying is. ICE. Novice.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. ICE. It has your short vowel. It breaks right here. The double F's break. Justice.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, it breaks right between, and you have your is at the end. How about device?
Yeah.
See how this one says ice at the end, but it's still a unit syllable. This is interesting. This says caprice. It's saying the long E sound.
Silent E.
And see, look, this says price. See how this one's a silent E, and this one is a unit syllable. See how that could be confusing? It's saying a different sound. It's in a multi-syllable word. Let's do the SE now. Can you see that really good, honey? Noise. So if it's an SE, what sound are you going to say? If you don't know this word and you want to read it, you want to read it as Z first. Noise. So this is, what kind of syllable is this? What kind of syllable is that?
Noise. Oh, silent. No, vowel team.
This is a vowel team. So this is not a unit syllable because you're focusing, that's what's going to say your oi. It doesn't even say is, or it's why it's so important for you to be able to identify, is it a unit syllable? Because it's going to say, it's going to take on the vowel team sound. It's not going to say is or eyes or ease, whatever. It won't say that because you have a vowel team. The SE is here to say the Z sound because we don't very often just have Z's at the end of our words. We do have them, but this is how you say Z at the end of words, is with an SE, oftentimes.
A vowel team.
You're right, Paul. Poise. This is a vowel team. Same with noise. The SE is here to say the Z sound. If you want Z at the end or S in not to be plural, you want to spell it oftentimes with an SE. Cruise.
Vowel team.
Vowel team. See how this can be super confusing? These are vowel teams. It says ooze, cruise. It doesn't say is or ice or is or ease. Does it? It doesn't. How about this one?
Vowel team.
Vowel team, raise. See how you have all these different vowel teams and but it's not saying the unit sound. These are confusables. This is a confusable. They're not homophones. Okay? And they confuse so many people. So we have devise. This is why it's so important for you to understand that oftentimes you say Z with an SE because always CE will say S. Devise. It's a completely different word to give counsel, advice, a recommendation. Okay? Does that make sense?
Yes.
Same thing here. Devise, forming a plan. Device, it's a gadget. See how easy it would be to put an S in for gadget? And you have a completely different word, but you're meaning this, or vice versa. This will probably happen more on this way for the SE to be a gadget. Same with this for recommendation than the other way around. Because if you hear Z, you know it can't be a CE. Because CEs do not say Z. They always say S. Materialize. What's the difference in between these two words?
The ZE and the SE.
So you say, well, we don't have eyes. Right here is in our main words. Well, why is it in here? Well, because this is British and this is American. If you want eyes as a suffix, you'd have to spell it I-Z-E. You have to have a base word for this. Okay? This will help you. Now, if you spell it I-S-E, it's still correct. But this is the preference for American, and this is the preference for the UK. Now, the UK is almost 50-50 for either one. But Americans typically spell eyes, I-Z-E, and the UK typically spells eyes, I-S-E. We save is or eyes for our unit sounds in the English language for American. Yeah, Paul?
So for materialize, is it a vowel team?
No, these are unit syllables. That's a very good question, Paul. These are unit syllables, but they are suffixes. And each suffix has it's called a certain syllable, and these are unit syllables. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And because it has its special sound right there. This is a unit syllable. Unit syllable. Remember, let's go up to bruise again. I-S-E. This is a vowel team. Oh, so we want to go up to bruise again. So remember, if you see ISE and you have a vowel right next to it, make sure that you are reading it as a vowel team. This is not a unit syllable. And this obviously is not a unit syllable. This is a suffix, the suffix S. Now remember, if we have Z at the end, most of the time, it's because it has a vibrating sound in front of it. And that's what forces the S to say Z. If you have one S at the end of a word, most likely it will say Z. But if you have two at the end, it will always say S. Also remember, homophones, let's talk about homophones again. Same sound, different spelling. All right? Homographs, the same, but the same spelling. Homonyms are both homophones and homographs. That's the difference. I hope that was super helpful for you in your studies. So I'm going to stand to the side so you can write anything down that you want, and we'll see you in the next lesson. Okay, bye.